I mean,
Which
like in
again, here
Desperado,
for.
like one of the most annoying things that Antonio Banderas, one of the most annoying things that he does is he does this one move where he shoots, but he goes. That's like, who the would shoot a gun that way? No one.
I don't know how Grogu could get so much cuter. It is absolutely insane.
Just
Oh, that sounds like such a. Oh, I didn't read the article, but I got the
Shay,
headline, and I
shut
got to
up.
just.
Shut up. So, what do you want to do first? Do you want to do Boba first? Do you want to just talk about bullshit first, or Nick and
I'll probably
Nora
do Boba.
first? Boba.
Boba.
Hey.
Boba.
I love. I love. I love that at the very end it replaces the whole Boba Fett with Boba. It's just like that's so stupid.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what they're saying. The whole chant, the whole time has been Boba, Fett, Boba.
I know, but like I guess it was just more obvious now. I don't know, like because I definitely didn't.
No, that's what they were pointing out. Like it was in retrospect thing. They're like they showed that to be like, oh yeah, they were saying that the whole time
Oh,
without
okay,
saying it.
gotcha. Because it's like I noticed it even without like watching New Rock Stars, but I only really noticed it on that last episode or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, the last episode of Boba Fett came out.
Did we intro this at all?
Hi everybody, what's up? I'm Nick.
Nate.
So yeah, the last episode of Boba Fett came out, and it was really good. It was really, really good. Um,
So this has been one.
let's start with just the episode itself before I get into like the overall experience of having to watch this.
So this episode itself not only was the finale, but it also was one of those. It was a culmination of all of our wild expectations of where they were going to take the show.
Right.
And it's been some time, so the internet's been the internet, and everyone's kind of talked it out, and so this is, like I said, a more marinated take, I feel like, for the both of us. But yeah, go ahead with yours first.
Mine first? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I loved it. Like, I feel like this episode fixed all the main problems of the entire series, which is, I mean, pretty much the same issue I'll have with almost any type of media, and that is pacing. Like, you can have drama. There doesn't have to be even one punch thrown or one slap or anything like that in drama. But as long as you can keep the pacing up and make it feel like, okay, something new is happening, something new. Ooh, that's really cool. That's interesting. As long as you can keep the pace going. Same thing with comedy. If you can keep me laughing, great. Or if you can keep me invested in the characters that are supposed to make me laugh, right? That is what makes a good comedy. And action is the same thing. You don't necessarily need wall to wall action. Like there's some people who will complain about like action movies with not enough action or whatever, and it's like it really depends. Like if you go into an action movie and you expect it to be wall to wall, you're really just putting yourself down. Because there's a good chance that, like, I don't know what, like 75% of action movies will always have something in the beginning and something at the end. The middle is a freaking, flip of the coin. Sometimes there could be stuff that happens in the middle, and sometimes it's just like, oh God, just talkity talk. But as long as that talkity talk is interesting and it keeps you invested in the characters, in the story, and builds up properly to that last action scene, it doesn't matter whether it was wall-to-wall action. So,
Right.
like I said, pacing. And this episode, I feel like, did a great amount of pacing. It fixed a lot of issues. I mean, thankfully, there wasn't any goddamn flashbacks, but even with or without that, it was just really well paced. And, I mean, there was very few moments that were just like, okay, let's get back to, whatever, which I feel like any of the episodes I felt that
Mhm.
at one point in the episode where I was like, okay, what's happening back over here? You know what I mean? So yeah.
As a finale, it was really enjoyable, and it's one of those that I think we all had our expectations, and I
Mm-hmm.
think our fill of like surprise cameos and like crazy things. But the main thing I'll say in regards to it is I don't know how Grogu could get so much cuter. It is absolutely insane,
Mm-hmm.
insane. And it was interesting how they were able to make this the conclusion of the Book of Boba Fett, but also the Mandalorian was a large portion of the episode with
Right.
Grogu, but yet it still felt like a Boba Fett episode. So that was nice.
Something
We
five
got to
and
see what
six
that.
could have learned.
Yes, we got something to run off of there. But this one was directed by Robert Rodriguez. So
Robert
like it's
Rodriguez.
been, and we'll talk about the contention here. It's been a contention to some, but
What do you mean?
overall, a lot of people saying that Robert Rodriguez shouldn't direct another Star Wars thing again.
Really?
Mhm.
Why?
The unnecessary, like the people who are not liking this are equating this to like Spy Kids style action, like they're the whole thing with the flip the dude did after, you
I
know.
mean, when you're right, you're right. But is that the only thing? Like, what else? What other kind of
No, it's just
examples
the
have you
whole like
seen?
it, I haven't seen a lot of people pointing other specific examples out video wise from the episode,
Mm-hmm.
but just talking about how like the framing of it, and it just felt too. People just didn't. It's really hard to say. It's Star Wars fans, and it's kind of getting to the point where it's annoying. But
Yeah.
like the action itself was really great. It was really pulpy, and it was nice to see that in Star Wars where we kind of have gotten some more intimate moments, even with the last bit of the Mandalorian. But
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Intimate.
everyone was kind of expecting there to be a surprise cameo in this one because it's the finale.
Yeah.
Little did we know it was the evolution of the droidicas.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and that was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Even more so that was actually a concept design from Attack of the Clones that they ended up using for this. But the fact that that was something that was really heavily used and not just, oh, it's kind of flashy, look at this thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Like you were saying, like the fact that it was like basically concept art, right? And I mean,
Yeah,
I think
it
it
was
was
concept.
released as far as like they probably put it in like some kind of continuum or something like that.
Yeah.
So like people knew about it and they're like, oh man, why didn't we get to see that? And I mean, 7 seasons of that one show, Clone Wars, brain fart. 7 seasons of that, and how many seasons was of Rebels?
4.
4. So it's
Mhm.
like
But the droids were pretty much out by that point.
true, true. But I'm just saying, like in
Right,
general,
right.
we have over 10 plus seasons of of Star Wars, and nobody wanted to bring that up, and then now we have them, and it's just like, oh my god,
Right.
like that was the only thing. Okay, dude, are you done with what you were gonna say so we can get into the negative?
Sure, go ahead.
Well, I mean, the main thing is that they're like, hey, let's shoot at it 50 million times because clearly that was working. Like,
Well, no. Are you talking about when Mando or Chrysanthemum was
I'm talking about
shooting?
literally anyone shot at it, and their laser plasma whatever is literally getting absorbed into the shield, and they just keep doing it over and over and over again. Like, were they hoping to like overload the shield generator or something? Like
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Basically, like after it's one of those things. Either after a certain barragement, they're hoping it might go down. But I mean, as we saw, if they focused, concentrated fire on one position, that
Mm-hmm.
was able to weaken it enough. But I can get where like strategically that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right.
But also at the same time, it's like,
Like
what do you do?
it made sense to make sure that it was going the way they wanted to go. So when like that was happening, I didn't mind. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But any moment where they're shooting at it and they're like legitimately just trying to do damage to it, it's like you're not doing damage. You have to figure out something else. And
Right.
the fact that it took, at least in my eyes, just a little bit too long for that to go, hey guys, maybe we should try a different thing. I did like how like Boba's just like, hold my beer, I'll be right back. Goes and
Yeah.
gets his thing in the fucking Rancor. And then he's like, brah.
Well, there's also some other things too, like when we were watching, like Marissa pointed out, why doesn't he use his rocket on his jetpack through a large portion of the fight before the Scorpions got there? And I was like, yeah. And the explanation that I gave was he didn't want to, like, he was trying really hard to not damage and destroy the town, and that would cause a lot of damage. But the
Yeah.
time that he uses it, it's flawed.
It's
Um,
pointless. Like,
yeah. So, but great to see those knee packs coming in again, because like the not just using it the first time, but using it in addition to like his gun. Yeah, that was just like,
maybe
oh man.
that's the Robert Rodriguez that they're talking about, because that also seemed very like Desperado, like
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Which
like in
again,
Desperado, like one of the most annoying things that Antonio Banderas, one of the most annoying things that he does is he does this one move where he shoots, but he goes. It's like, who the fuck would shoot a gun that way? No one. Why the fuck are you? Like, that's how. And it was like sideways. It's like, is he like from Wanted and he's trying to curve the fucking bullets? Like, like, it made no sense. Anyways, I mean that's that and the fucking twirl, like the twirl, and it was in slow motion. So as wrong as that twirl was, they focused on it for too long. He's like, I'm gonna let go of the person I'm trying to hold up, and then I'm just gonna like wee. Okay, like if there would have been some like literally in post, they could have just like put a laser going past him so that he had to twist to get out of the way of the laser. It would have been as easy as that, but instead he's just like, wee! Like, look at me! There's this one movie on Netflix, and for the most part I was like, okay, they're doing their own stunts, like the action is very well shot, a lot of like long takes or whatever, and then we get to the last action scene and the whole thing is kind of done in slow motion, which is great, but then there's so many instances where like a lady would like twist around to shoot one way, and it's like, there's a guy literally right here. Why don't you get rid of the threat that is 2 inches from your face before twisting and shooting that way? And it's just like, and the fact that it's in slow motion made it worse, because it's just like you were just showing us your flaws in twice the amount of time that it takes. So it's just that's the most recent thing that's the one thing that gets stuck in my head about that movie. Is just like the unnecessary, like, oh, I'm gonna turn all the way around. Like there was one, I think she's like facing this way, she turns all the way around to then do a 180, so she does like a 720 or something so that she can then turn around and shoot 2 guys. And I'm like, why didn't you just do a 180? Like, you did an extra rotation for because movie. Like,
Right. Yeah, and here's the thing. Like, yes, there was a lot more stylized shit in this one,
Mhm.
and it was kind of a little bit more like whatever. But I enjoyed that because for like a lot of at least the beginning episodes, they were pretty simple when it comes to like principal production.
Simple
So I
plans.
mean, like they seem, just like going into sets. I mean, I'm not saying the production looked bad or anything, but it was very much like not grandiose Star Wars.
Yeah.
It was a lot smaller scale. So seeing this larger scale battle from start to finish in a beautiful choreography, I mean, it made sense in
Right.
the sense of like where they went from point A to point B.
Right.
The whole battle with Mando and Boba Fett and that whole interaction, like of them fighting, was really cool to see.
Mm.
But man, I think what solidified like the more satire characters for me, Pelimoto and the Domos
Arigato.
Tweet, yeah, whatever his name is. Like at first when they were at the beginning of these episodes, I was like, man, I thought they were okay, and the Mandalorian kind of felt shoehorned in Disney stuff, but this time, like, both of them really excelled. Like the whole thing where he's like, I excelled in, basically negotiation politics, and like he's like, when Boba agrees to it, it caught me off guard. I was like, okay, and then like he goes to go out, and he's like, yeah, we're gonna. Oh, I'm dead. Like you
I know
feel
that
it, you
realization
can
is like,
see the realization,
mm-hmm,
and it was just a great scene.
mm-hmm,
Um, but the main thing I think that was actually really wholesome and important for me was all the Grogu stuff.
right, yeah.
Whenever he gets on that cart and then does that double take of the kid being there, and then he force leaps into his arms and is like basically going, Dad, it's like, oh my God. And then he's like, you're wearing the shirt. I'm like, God, why is this so, but that's what they get. 2 seasons of something like that sort of character development means so much to us.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, I think this was a great way to end this, and it
Mm-hmm.
really kind of put to scale what the Book of Boba Fett was, and it was a lot smaller than what we were expecting. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that is the kind of point to be made. But let me ask you this:
Yeah.
how do you feel like this episode ranks in comparison to the others? And then at the end, like with it being the finale, what is your thoughts on on this season as a whole?
So where it ranks is right below episode 5, which was the first one that we got the Mandalorian in.
Okay.
Um, I'd say it goes 5, 7, 6, and then all the other ones just tie, I guess. Because like they're all just they're building, sure, but like none of them were
Yeah.
like really that memorable, you know. I honestly, I could tell you certain things that happened, but like if you quizzed me on like what episode they were on, I would have no idea. So yeah, I would definitely say it's 5, 7, 6 as far as ranking, and then all the other ones. So as a whole, on the whole, preparation age. Um, um, I don't know. I saw this one video title and I didn't watch it, but I kind of totally agreed with the title, and the title was pretty much just
Oh, that sounds like a such a. Oh, I didn't read the article, but I got the headline, and I
shut
bet it
up,
just.
shut up. Listen to me, listen to me. But I agree with the title. The title was Book of Boba Fett is content. And that's what it is. Do you get it? It's
Yeah,
it's just
there.
yeah, it's just content. That's all it is. And I have to agree because I mean, we can both agree that no matter how awesome it is, piece by piece, right? It's like,
Mm.
oh, this piece was awesome. This piece was awesome. We got to see him out of the Sarlacc pit. We got to see him do this. We got every single piece of Book of Boba Fett is anywhere from good to fucking amazing, right?
Yeah,
But it's just how they were arranged that was just like, it just seems like, okay, yeah, this is content. It's just that's all it is. Nothing really matters.
mm.
You know, there's definitely a lot of lore that's good to see. You know, but it's just content. You know,
Yeah.
and it's not a bad thing, but it's not also good. Like it's just okay, yeah, yeah. That's how I feel about it in general. I
Hmm.
do feel like the last episode elevates it as far as like, okay, this is what we were building up to. But I also feel like that goes back to my thing about pacing. Pacing doesn't necessarily also only take place in one episode. The pacing of the entire series should definitely be taken into account. So the fact that they made up for it at the very end is like watching a long ass episode of season 2 of Walking Dead, and it's like, oh my god, nothing's happening, and it's like, oh, it's Sophia. Yeah, okay, yay, thanks, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, with you, as far as the ranking goes, I would say that I'm kind of about the same.
Yeah.
I think that without a doubt, episode 5 is the best episode of this season.
Yeah.
And then I would say, yeah, 7 and 6. I liked 6, and 6 was cool to see, like Luke, and see, like, just seeing as a Clone Wars and Rebels fan, seeing Ahsoka and that whole interaction, like, it meant a lot. But man, just seeing Din Djarin be an absolute badass, like just seeing stuff that we haven't seen before, especially again Clone Wars and Rebels fans, into live action. And then the only real flashback episode that I think I really, really enjoyed was the one whenever he, fully became a Tusken and then went on the whole vision trip.
Yeah.
Because that was cool to see, like, kind of him. That was basically cool to see his rebirth. Like, that's what we witnessed. But yeah, going back to you with the whole pacing thing, that I feel like is my biggest. If I have to put a sticking point in, it's going to be that.
Yeah.
Because there was I think I don't remember the exact video, but other people talking about this, they're like, it kind of makes me think that maybe there was something behind the scenes production wise, like when the show was going on, they were like, hey, it's going to be this thing, and then realized, hey, not really sure about that. So
yeah,
maybe see this
the
as
same
a template
thing happened with What If. There was supposed to be an episode with Gamora, because even in the promotion, all the promotional stuff, she has Thanos's like twin blade or whatever, and then they cut that and they're gonna put it into season 2 or whatever. So it's like I think you have a good astute.
You're frozen, by the way.
I am. Well, good fucking for you. Oh no, you said that there was behind the scenes stuff, and so that meant something happened, and it's like I believe that because of what happened with What If. That so I was saying very astute observation, sir.
Yeah, I actually have a real quick thing about that. They talked about the whole thing with that Gamora episode was too close to something that was in Multiverse of Madness.
Ooh.
I think it might have to do with the variant Tony Stark thing. Yeah. Anyway, so with this as a show as a whole, that's the biggest issue I have would be pacing. It is some of probably the best Star Wars content we have gotten as fans, even past stuff in The Mandalorian. But at the same time, it's just weird how some of it was put together. Like, why was that juxtaposed in the middle of something about Boba Fett? And with how they ended it, it makes me think that the first couple episodes could have been trimmed down. Like, it really makes me think that some of those interactions could have been, now my opinion might be different when I actually go back to watch these front to back.
Right.
Because I feel like in that sense, it very much might be like Walking Dead season 2 vibes. But I think in like going forward, when we think about the Book of Boba Fett, I think this is basically going to be our official bridge from animated to live action, because this is the most that we have seen of animated content in a live action sense. First time we're seeing the Pikes in live action. First time we're seeing the rest of the crime family in live action. We saw them in Clone Wars. That whole scene where he's, deliberating with the rest of them, and then everything with Cad Bane. And so basically they're leading into, hey, we're about to get a lot crazier, especially with the Ahsoka series.
Right.
So for the fan base, it's basically like, hey, this is the first thing to come. I think if we look at it, it's very equivalent to like WandaVision. Like, this is the first taste of what this is going to be like going forward. And then we've gotten the others. So
yeah,
I enjoyed it. I think that production wise, there might have just been something behind the scenes, like people said, and that's why it's just weird. Like, the pacing of the show. I mean,
this certainly is the Falcon and Winter Soldier to the other Wanda and Loki. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't agree with that exact analogy because I really enjoyed Falcon and Winter Soldier, but I get what you're saying.
I enjoyed it too, but I'm just saying in comparison to the other two, it's just like
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So yeah. What'd you guys think about the Book of Boba Fett? Go ahead and tell us down in the comments below, and also look at all the other videos that we have, like our month of love So far, we've got 2. We're doing another one, so you could just probably click on it over here or something. I don't know. But we're going to be doing that as well, so look for that. But we also have, we're going to have some reviews coming up. Like Elden Ring's going to come up. I think I'm going to probably gush about that. And yeah, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I was Nick.
And I was Nate.
And goodbye, YouTube.
Boba Fett.
Boba.
Itself.
What are you doing, silly? Bye. Love you.
Precious.
Do you want a real kiss? We'll get over here then. All right, go get mama, baby. Yes, way. Oh, I'm sorry. Come here. I love you.
It was really cool too.
Bitch. You're such a little bitch. Stop it. Ah!